Was he a god or a conqueror, a savior or a tyrant? How does a mere deity rise above all others, taking the throne of the Babylonian divine pantheon? Why do kings create entire empires in his name, wage wars, and bend the will of the nations to his commands? What dark secrets are hidden in the myth of his final battle when he confronts the goddess of chaos, Tiamat, in a war that reshapes the cosmos? Enter the world of one of the first civilizations, a time when gods were among men, when power was written in cuneiform and blood. This is the legend of Marduk, the supreme god of Babylon, the architect of order, the master of magic, the destroyer of chaos. Prepare to uncover the truth about him. More than 6,000 years ago, from beneath the fertile soils along the banks of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in present-day Iraq, rose a collection of city-states that forever changed the course of world history. In this region, known to archaeologists as Mesopotamia, cultures such as Sumerian, Babylonian, and Assyrian emerged and are thought to have played an important role in the development of one of the world's first true civilizations. Their unprecedented achievements in technology, agriculture, mathematics, and science have inspired generations and continue to shape our world today. The Sumerians are credited with creating one of the world's first writing systems, known as cuneiform. It was they who introduced the hexadecimal system, thanks to which today we divide the minute into 60 seconds and the hour into 60 minutes. Their ancient cities reveal their architectural genius, and the innovative abilities of their workers and masons remain in evidence thousands of years after their deaths. Colossal temples, high ziggurats, and city walls were built with sophisticated techniques and materials to create functional and aesthetically pleasing structures. But the Mesopotamians are not remembered only for their architectural and technological achievements. These ancient cultures crossed the boundary between the physical and spiritual worlds, leaving behind a complex and deeply interwoven religious system. They practiced divination through the interpretation of omens and created countless sacred texts that continue to shed light on their beliefs about life, death, and the afterlife. Underlying their religious beliefs was a complex polytheistic system centered on the worship of an extensive pantheon of gods, where each had a role to play in the universal order. Although the various city-states influenced each other culturally, they each worshipped their own supreme deities. The Sumerians exalted Enlil as the mightiest among the gods until the Babylonians arose nearly 1,500 years later. They viewed the deity known as Marduk as their supreme god. Marduk was usually depicted as a powerful bearded man in royal clothing. Sometimes in one hand he held what looked like a spade or sickle, called a maru. This most likely symbolized agriculture, creation, and the rule of the world. In other depictions he holds a staff with a ring, which is a symbol of supreme power, or carries a sword or mace, emphasizing his warrior nature. In many depictions, Marduk is accompanied by his sacred beast, the dragon or dragon Mushushu, which has a serpentine body, lion's legs, and horns. The Babylonians believed that this creature symbolized Marduk's victory over chaos, personified by the goddess Tiamat. The divine figure of Marduk is widely revered as king of the gods and is associated with justice, compassion, healing, and magic. He is primarily worshipped in the temple called Esagila, located in the heart of the ancient city of Babylon. Here, during the Akitu festival, the Babylonians celebrated their revered god by reciting some ancient epics and participating in rituals. An unprecedented number of cuneiform texts have been created in the city of Babylon, providing us with a rich vein of legend and mythology centered around its deities. Most notable among these is the Enuma Elish, which is taken to be an epic about the creation of the world. This extensive text, carved on clay tablets, details the origins of the Babylonian gods, their battles, and the rise of Marduk as supreme god. Like many other ancient legends, this long poem begins at the dawn of the universe. Here, in the primordial waters of chaos, arise two deities, the god Apsu, associated with sweet and fresh water, and Tiamat, the goddess of salt and bitter water. The union of these primal deities soon gave birth to the younger gods of Mesopotamia. Among their offspring were Lahmu and Lahamu. In Babylonian texts, the god Enki, also known as Ea, was the son of Apsu and would eventually play a key role in his father's tragic fate. According to the myths, the younger gods were extremely noisy, and this disturbed Apsu's sleep at night and distracted him from his work during the day. Angered by their actions, he decided to destroy the younger gods. But Tiamat learned of his plan and warned her son, Enki. Determined to protect his siblings, he plotted a daring move. He broke into Apsu's chambers while he slept and killed him. This act not only saved the young gods, but also marked the beginning of a new era in the heavenly pantheon. The original ally of the young gods, she was now appalled by Enki's actions. Tiamat wondered how could he have committed such an atrocity. Torn between shock and anger, she sought advice from the god Kingu, who suggested that if she did not avenge what she had done, then she would suffer the same fate as Apsu. Determined to take revenge, Tiamat bestowed Kingu with the Scrolls of Destiny, which legitimized his supreme power and control over the fates of the world. He wears them proudly as a breastplate. With Kingu as his challenger, Tiamat summons the forces of chaos and creates 11 terrifying monsters to destroy her children. Faced with her fury, Enki and the other gods tried to stop her, but to no avail. Then Marduk appeared, a young and powerful warrior who promised to deliver them if he was recognized as the supreme god. The gods accepted, and so began the last great battle. When the decisive moment came, Marduk confronted Kingu, but the latter sensed the young god's power and fled, leaving Tiamat alone. Wasting no time, Marduk shot an arrow from his powerful bow that pierced the skull of the primal goddess, cutting her in two. From her eyes flow the waters of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Using Tiamat's lifeless body, Marduk proceeded with the creation of heaven and earth, then divided the tasks among the remaining gods. He then chained Tiamat's 11 monsters at his feet as trophies, asserting his unshakable power. Finally, he took the wings of destiny from Kingu, thus legitimizing his rule as supreme ruler of the world. Having defeated Tiamat and reigned order over chaos, Marduk was hailed by the other gods. They gathered around their new lord, praising him for his fearlessness and for delivering them from the fear of death. But Marduk knew he had to preserve the new order at all costs, and the gods could not be concerned with maintaining it forever. So, after consulting with Ea, the god of wisdom, he made a fateful decision: to create mankind. For this great purpose, Marduk used the remains of the bodies and spirits of the gods who had encouraged Tiamat to go to war. The first to be accused of a crime against the new order was Kingu. He was liquidated, and from his blood Ea created the first man, Lulu. Man was not created as a supreme being, but as an assistant to the gods, a creature to take on the burden of maintaining the world, relieving the gods of that role. In some versions of the epic it is recorded, Ea created humanity, on whom he entrusted the service of the gods and relieved the gods of their duty. Marduk then arranged the organization of the underworld and assigned the gods to their heavenly and earthly posts. Thus, he established order in the universe. At the end of the carved inscriptions, great praises are offered to Marduk for his many achievements. The fascinating story of this Babylonian deity continues to arouse great interest among researchers today. The cult of Marduk reached unprecedented heights during the reign of Hammurabi, the great ruler of Babylon who reigned between 1792 and 1750 BC. He was the sixth king of the Amorite First Dynasty of Babylon. During his lifetime, the monarch conquered southern Babylonia and transformed the small city-state into a vast and powerful kingdom, changing the balance of power in Mesopotamia. His sweeping conquests are believed to have been driven not only by political ambition, but also by a sacred mission: his quest to spread civilization to all peoples. A stele from the city-state of Ur praises Hammurabi in his own words as a great ruler who subdued evil and compelled all nations to bow before Marduk. The inscription reads, "The peoples of Elam, Gutium, Subartu, and Tukrisha, whose mountains are distant and whose language is unintelligible, I have delivered into the hands of Marduk. I myself continued to straighten their confused minds. The people of Elam, Gutium, Subartu, and Tukrish, whose mountains are distant and whose languages are obscure, I placed into Marduk's hand. I myself continued to put their confused minds straight." A hymn composed at a later stage further emphasizes the worship this Babylonian king felt for his supreme god. Again written in the first person, this hymn presents the king as a supernatural force acting in the name of Marduk. It reads, "I am the king, the brace that grasps wrongdoers, that makes people of one mind. I am the great dragon among kings, who throws their counsel in disarray. I am the net that is stretched over the enemy. I am the fear-inspiring, who, when lifting his fierce eyes, gives the disobedient the death sentence. I am the great net that covers evil intent. I am the young lion, who breaks nets and scepters. I am the battle net that catches him who offends me." When we look back at the various legends, myths, and hymns centered on Marduk, as well as the efforts that kings like Hammurabi made just to affirm their devotion to this god, it becomes clear that the Babylonian deity was held in extremely high esteem in the city-state. The ancient inhabitants of Babylon saw Marduk as the patron and protector of the city. They regarded him as the creator who defeated the forces of chaos and established order in the world. Even more interesting is the question of how such an advanced civilization as the Sumerians arose out of nowhere and then disappeared into nothingness. It is as if they emerged only to leave a definite trail that would spur humanity on in its quest to evolve forward. You will learn more about this in the video you see to the left,